You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, General Hospital fans. It is Belinda from Soap Dirt, and I want to talk to you guys about something that's gonna upset some of you, probably about half of you, but it's a conversation we need to have. And as always, I look forward to your comments once you've listened, but I ask that you do listen. Stick with me till the bitter end on this. I'm just going to say it. I think there's a chance that Sonny may forgive Nina and their relationship may hold together in the long run. I think that there's a breakup coming, but I think there could be a reunion coming too. I'm going to tell you why. I promise you I have actual info and a very good argument, even though I know it's going to really tick off some of y'all. But let's talk about it. Let's dig in. Hey, if you haven't already, please reach down and click subscribe so you don't miss any of our GH updates. So the first thing, I'm going to talk a little bit about Sonny's history because it's important to talk about his emotional track record with betrayal and his willingness to forgive. So first off, let's talk about Sonny forgiving Brenda Barrett for wearing a police wire to record him. That was back in 1993. After they'd first met, they were kind of sparking. She wasn't sure if he was a mobster or not, so she agreed to wear a wire to record him. Lily Rivera found out and she ratted out Brenda to Sonny. Guess what? Sonny dumped Brenda and married Lily. Then later, Sonny came around and he forgave Brenda and he wanted to get back with her. But by then, Lily was pregnant, so he stuck with her. Then Lily died and Brenda and Sonny eventually found their way back together. So Nina Reeves had Martin Gray call in a tip to the SEC about Carly and Drew, not about Sonny to the feds or the cops or anything. If he can forgive Brenda for almost getting the law onto him by wearing a wire, surely he might forgive Nina for this, given that Carly didn't wind up in prison. And let's be real, Carly's given Nina as good as she's gotten. These two have both been pretty bad to each other. All right. The second thing, moving on from Brenda, do you remember when Carly set up Sonny to be arrested by the feds? Well, I sure do. That was back in 2001 when Carly wanted Sonny out of the mob. That was pre-Laura Wright. That was back in the Tamara Braun days. Carly was conspiring with Roy DeLuca, if you remember him. He was a former mob associate of Luke Spencer's, and he had cut a deal with the FBI that involved his fake death and him working for the feds and just other stuff. There was a whole, I'm not going to dig into all the history because there's a lot, but Carly talked Roy into having Sonny arrested by the FBI. She assumed Sonny would cut a deal with the feds and he'd be out of the mob and they would wind up in witness protection together, free to live their lives without all the danger and all that. But, Carly should have known Sonny's from that school of snitches get stitches and he refused to play ball. In the end, he got out of prison, but he broke things off with Carly, and that was when he knocked up his lawyer, Alexis. But as we know, Sonny barely gave Alexis the time of day, and it wasn't too long before he forgave Carly and took her back. Again, to me, this seems like a much worse transgression than what Nina did to Carly. She knew Carly wasn't going to go to prison for life. I mean, it was more likely to be a slap on the wrist for her and Drew, except for that corrupt judge that, slapped Carly with that huge fine and him with that aggressive prison sentence. So the third thing, another thing that really works in Nina's favor in this matter is that Carly didn't go to prison and she wasn't really hurt. She was never even arrested, if I'm recalling correctly. She was pulled out of Willow and Michael's wedding and taken to the PCPD to be questioned by the SEC cops. Diane was with her, but what they really wanted was Drew, because he was a bigger fish. And then Sonny called in to have a fake lead set up so the SEC would go chasing Drew to Hawaii. And Carly just got to walk out of the PCPD. I don't recall seeing her booked. Let me know in the comments if you recall. I don't even think she was ever technically arrested. I think she basically was having her lawyer deal with it, and then she was hit with that big fat fine. So, it might have gone differently if Drew Kane hadn't thrown himself under the bus, but he did. So Carly never wound up in prison playing Orange is the New Black, in jumpsuits. And yes, Drew suffered in prison, but Nina had no way of knowing that could happen. And that wasn't even about the SEC stuff. That was about whatever force is at work, the person that, leverage Judge Kim to stick him in Pentonville and that corrupt warden. Carly came out of it mostly unscathed, aside from the fine. Somebody had said, oh, Nina stole her hotel from her. No, she didn't. Let me clarify that. Carly borrowed money against her half of the hotel. Then she took all that money and she basically gambled by buying up Aurora Media stock, thinking that it was going to go public and then her stock price would soar up, and she thought she was helping them and was also going to make a pile of money. And then it didn't go public and the stock price tanked and she lost money on her gamble, and she couldn't buy back her hotel from the people that she had temporarily sold it to. That's why Carly doesn't have her half of the MetroCourt. Nina wound up buying her half, and she even offered to give it back to her, just by the way. But nothing that Nina did is why Carly lost that hotel. Carly lost her half of it because she gambled the money away in what she knew was illegal insider trading. And please don't tell me in the comments she didn't know it was insider trading. Yes, she did. People know what insider trading is. If you are in a position to invest in stocks and stuff, you know what insider trading is. Come on. All right. And, I think that's just one more reason that Sonny could forgive her, because Carly came out of it mostly unscathed. And Sonny really can't be butthurt about Drew almost dying, because if you remember back in 2015, he told Sean Butler to kill him. That was back when he was being called Jake Doe. But if Sean had better aim, Drew would be dead right now, pushing up daisies on Sonny's orders. So that's another kind of mitigating thing to consider. Fourth, let's talk about this. Sonny has forgiven other people much worse deeds. Carly's cheated on Sonny more than once. She had him arrested. Brenda wore a wire. Michael sued him and took custody of baby Avery from him several years back. And now let's talk about Ava Jerome. Remember, she was sleeping with his son, Morgan. She shot and killed his fiancee, Connie Falconeri, aka Kate Howard, to protect her brother, Julian Jerome. And Ava messed with Sonny's mental meds. She also tampered with Morgan's meds to the extent that he was in this bipolar spiral when he stole Julian's car and wound up blown up by a bomb intended for her brother. But Ava and Sonny are amicable co-parents. He's even protecting her right now. He considers Ava family despite all her very despicable past deeds. And nothing Nina has done to Sonny or Carly comes close to what Ava has done to the Corinthos family. Sonny tends to, blow up. He rages, he burns bridges, and then he calms down over time and he forgives. So he just blows up, and then it kind of blows over in the long run. And the fifth and final thing, this is last but not least, but let's talk about the romantic options for Sonny. Carly is not sitting by the phone waiting for him. She had already fallen in love with Jason at the time that they got married. And then Sonny came back from the dead and she was conflicted. Then Jason died that soapy death that I expect to be reversed at some point. And now Carly's head over heels for his twin brother, Drew. She seems to be completely over Sonny and not interested in backtracking. I know a lot of fans, probably some of you listening, really want Carly with Sonny, but Maurice Benard doesn't want it. He's tired of the repeat stories and he wants something new. He is the big GH star. And while actors don't get to write their storylines, big actors that are, front burner do get listened to, extras, people that are on recurring, no, they don't get listened to, but a big front burner star like Maurice, yeah, they're going to listen to him. So that being said, Sonny has other options aside from Carly. In particular, I'm thinking about Anna Devane. I think they're getting closer for a reason, and there are spoilers for next week showing more of that. Sonny's comforting her after something else bad happens, and Anna and Valentine have a date with dumping Destiny, I feel like, when she finds out all his lies about the attacks on her and what Charlotte has done. I suspect Anna and Sonny might explore a minute of romance, but I don't expect it to be a lasting thing. So with Michael happy to have a boot on Nina's neck, she thinks she's in the clear for now. We've got 20 some odd days of November sweeps left, and I suspect that Nettie Main gets his memories back and busts Nina. From there, very clearly, Sonny Corinthos is going to explode on his wife. She's going to beg. She's going to plead. She's going to tell him she loves him and ask for his forgiveness. He's going to toss her out. I expect he'll probably file divorce papers, but, give it a while. Maybe even space for them each to have a rebound romance. Valentine's about to be single, and he did love Nina. In the long run, though, I suspect Sonny will find a way to forgive Nina for a lot of the reasons I've listed above. He gets angry, but then he can be very forgiving. And I think in the long run, they might reconcile. I don't think it's going to be next month, but maybe next year. But I do think forgiveness will come. Sonny has a track record of forgiving even the most heinous deeds and betrayals done by the women in his life and his own children. He forgave Olivia for keeping his son Dante from him, even though he almost killed him as a result of her lies and keeping secrets. So, there's too many things that Carly's done to him that he forgave for me to list here. And by the same token, things he did to her that she's forgiven. I'm not saying that there's not, but there's been a lot. So what Nina did was bad. It was very bad. It was sketchy. And the larger issue is once she pulled that trigger, there was no chance for a take back. So I've had some people arguing with me here in the comments that Michael is not as bad as Nina when I kind of did a little thing comparing their betrayals of Sonny. And they're saying that Michael's not as bad because he stopped short of having his dad arrested. Okay, but that's only because Michael Corinthos had the luxury of time. If his plan had been set in stone from one phone call, Michael would have betrayed Sonny because that was his intent all along. But because his plan was on this slow burn, he did have the opportunity to call it off at the very last minute. But with Nina, once that call was made, she couldn't undo it. She couldn't unring the bell. She regretted it afterwards, but I personally think something done in a moment of anger is not as bad as something done that you meticulously plan out to hurt someone. And the legal system sees it that way. They agree with me. That's why premeditated murder, a murder that you sit down and plan and then carries a much harsher sentence than, say, manslaughter, which is, if you're fighting with somebody and you accidentally kill them in the heat of passion, or second or third degree murder where you kill someone, but you didn't plan it out ahead of time. So I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me on this and say that Nina doesn't deserve forgiveness. I'm not saying that she necessarily deserves it, but I'm saying that Sonny is going to eventually give it anyway. Given his track record, that's how it's going to go in the long run. Drop your comments below, click subscribe if you haven't already, and come back soon to talk GH here with me. I know I'm going to have some angry comments, but I promise I'm going to read them all anyway, so go ahead and drop them. This has been Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.